Thanks, Paul. That's quite an intro. You forgot one important thing. I was actually the senior class president in my high school for 2 years in a row. Delineation of that. You know, thanks for being here. I mean, Paul and What Really Works organization just puts on such a great event. Can we just thank Paul and Wanda for... I got a book in 1999 as a gift called Built to Last, right? A phenomenal book, published in 1994. And inside, the person who gave it to me wrote, "Tim, this book is a business treasure. I believe the core concepts of core purpose, core values, and vivid description will guide us over the long haul. Enjoy, Paul Botts, July 1999. And the subtext on the book says Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. So the interesting thing is now here we are co-authoring a book called What Really Works, which is really Success Habits of Visionary People. Success habits of visionary leaders, success habits of visionary spouses that are here today. And so it's been a really exciting journey for us to start to interview 3 or 4 key talents in each of the 3 or 4 talents in each of the 7 chapters. And it's been really fulfilling. It's been exhausting. My wife is here. She's flying out to Virginia for a board meeting for a not-for-profit that she's on right after breakfast. And it's just been brutal. Paul and I email each other and say, hammer down, we got deadlines, hammer down. So it's weekends and evenings, but it's been a real joy to take some time. And so, it's interesting to be with you today and talk through this Rainier climb and the 7 Fs and kind of my personal story. And I think the thing that motivates me is this idea of with new information comes behavior change. And if through a book like What Really Works can create new information and it can create behavior change in us, we will achieve the life we imagine. And please know, I struggle, right? I don't have this completely wired. I struggle every day with these 7 Fs, but just the fact that I've got a context for how life can be fulfilling and how it's driving behavior in me, I want new information that's going to change my behavior. I mean, it reminds me of these 7 junior high girls that were beginning to experiment with makeup, right? And so they would press the lipstick on really, really thick and then push their lips up against the mirror, right? Well, the problem was the janitor every night had to come and remove the lipstick, and it was kind of a problem. So the principal of the school was really wise, and she said, if I can actually show these girls how difficult it is, maybe they'll stop doing it. And so she asked the girls to come in after school, she asked the janitor to come in, and this wise principal said, girls, you've got to stop doing this because it's just so challenging. And so she turned to the janitor and said, would you demonstrate how difficult it is to remove the lipstick? He took his squeegee, dipped it in the toilet bowl water, and began to remove. Does new information create behavior change? Right? These girls, believe it or not, never put their lips on the mirror, right? And so with new information, compelling information, we get behavior change. And I think at the core of what we want this book to do is to create such compelling information for you that we change our behavior. We change our behavior in the area of these 7 Fs. A quick example of some of the things we're learning. There was one gentleman who, fitness we found is what we're calling almost the throwaway F. That everybody's working and so busy on the other 6 that the fitness one people are just giving up on. And we've done research, we've done personal interviews, and so we're deeming that one the throwaway F. Well, there's one guy who says, I gotta get away from that dang snooze button, and begin to make it happen. So he sets an alarm clock in next to his bed for 5 a.m. and he sets another alarm clock in their 6-month-old's nursery for 5:01. Right? Because he knows if I just get out of bed, I will begin to work on my fitness. So for him, new information was this idea. And so we hope that this book is just full of ideas. And the fact that we're interviewing 3 or 4 leaders for each chapter and many other pieces of research that we're adding to this, it's going to be full of ideas like that, because those are things that really work, right? And so this Rainier climb, let's pivot away now into this Rainier climb, because what was happening in my world was the confluence of 2 very interesting things. I'm in a study group with about 10 people, and one of them brought a book for all of us to read. He handed out this book. It's called The Power of Who. And he said, I want you all to read this, and then I want all of you to make a list of 100 things that you want to do before you die. And what is that called? Bucket list. He said, but here's the twist. It's not so much the list of the goals, but it's whose name are you going to put next to each of those 100 that will help make it happen. Because the author of The Power of Who says, by adding a name next to the item, the odds of that actually happening go way up. I mean, we dream about the future and of the life that we imagine, and we put these goals down that are exciting, but until I say, I'd like to see an Indianapolis 500 race someday on my list. And so I actually know someone who lives, it's someone who kind of reports to me through the chain of organization. He lives in Indianapolis. So simply by putting his name there, suddenly I have very, very good odds that I will someday see a race, versus kind of the anonymity and the vagueness of just saying, gosh, it'd be cool one day to see Indianapolis 500, right? And so that was going on in my life, that this study group said, we want to make the list of 100 and identify a person that is going to actually make that happen. And then secondly, was this project with Paul. That this idea of, okay, we're starting to interview really talented people around these 7 Fs, and how could I actually do something? I've got a son graduating in May that would actually combine a bunch of these. Because if this is really about blending, which is the key word on the cover, is how do we blend these? When we started playing with what verb we should use there, it was combining, it was, what were the other words, Paul? Harnessing. We thought that was a little male, harnessing. I'm a cowboy, we're going to harness. So, we played with all kinds of verbs, but blending is where we landed after asking a lot of our within our research. And so I said, okay. And so we started, my son and I put 50 pounds on our back, and we drove over to Bloomington, Highland, and we started walking up the Black Diamonds to get ready, right? We knew we needed to get our